The massive crystalline doors of the Galactic Council chambers slid open with mechanical precision, revealing Queen Isabella Martinez of Earth standing in formal diplomatic regalia. Her human frame appeared impossibly small against the towering alien dignitaries already seated in the amphitheater style. Captain Jake Morrison of the Royal Guard maintained his position 3 steps behind and to her left, his hand resting casually near his ceremonial weapon while his eyes swept the assembly for threats. The Zephyrian ambassador's forearms gestured dismissively as his translator device crackled to life. The human delegation arrives late to discuss what exactly? Earth's admission to the Council requires unanimous consent, and frankly, your species lacks the technological advancement we expect from member worlds. Isabella stepped forward, her voice carrying clearly across the vast chamber. Ambassador Krex, Earth brings something far more valuable than technology to this alliance. She paused, allowing silence to build tension. We bring perspective that could reshape how the galaxy approaches its greatest challenge. The crystalline entity representing the Silicon Confederacy pulsed with skeptical light patterns. Explain this perspective, Human Queen. Our computational analyses suggest your species offers little strategic value. Morrison noticed Isabella's slight hesitation, a micro-expression he had learned to read during their months of preparation. She was about to take a calculated risk that could either secure Earth's future or destroy it completely. 3 months ago, Earth faced what you would consider an impossible situation. Isabella began, her tone shifting to something more personal. A diplomatic crisis that threatened not just our world, but our entire understanding of leadership itself. She glanced briefly at Morrison, who maintained his stoic expression despite recognizing where this was heading. The Arcturian delegate leaned forward on his floating platform. We are familiar with human conflicts. Internal disputes hardly qualify as galactic perspective. Isabella smiled, the expression both confident and vulnerable. This wasn't about conflict, Ambassador. It was about transformation. She turned to address the full assembly. Captain Morrison, would you share with the Council the circumstances that led to our current diplomatic strength? Morrison felt every alien gaze shift to him. Protocol demanded he remain silent unless directly ordered to speak by Council authority, but Isabella had just placed him in an impossible position. His duty was to protect her, but revealing certain truths could expose vulnerabilities that hostile species might exploit. Your Majesty, Morrison replied carefully, perhaps the Council would benefit from understanding the context first. The Methane Brothers' representative released a cloud of irritated gas through their environmental suit. Human theatrics waste valuable time. State your proposal or withdraw your application. Isabella nodded at Morrison, giving him permission to proceed. He stepped forward, his military bearing commanding attention even among beings who could easily destroy him physically. 3 months ago, Queen Isabella and I found ourselves in what humans call an accidental marriage, Morrison stated, his voice steady despite the magnitude of what he was revealing. A clerical error during a state ceremony legally bound us under Earth's ancient constitutional laws. The chamber erupted in various forms of alien communication. Clicking, humming, light flashing, and electromagnetic pulses filled the air as delegates processed this unexpected information. The Zephyrian ambassador's translator struggled with overlapping signals before settling on one voice. You mean to tell this council that Earth's queen is married to her bodyguard due to paperwork mistakes? Isabella raised her hand for silence. The circumstances were irrelevant. What mattered was how we chose to handle an impossible situation. Her gaze swept the assembly. Instead of dissolving the marriage immediately, we decided to discover what this accident might teach us about leadership, partnership, and the courage required to transform unexpected challenges into unprecedented opportunities. Some appeared intrigued, others confused, but none seemed hostile. Isabella was masterfully reframing what could have been seen as human incompetence into something that demonstrated resilience and adaptability. The Silicon Confederacy's representative pulsed with analytical light. The matrimonial status of your leadership has no bearing on galactic politics. On the contrary, Isabella replied, her confidence building, our accidental marriage forced us to completely reimagine how power could be shared, how trust could be built between different roles, and how strength could emerge from vulnerability. She looked directly at Morrison. Captain Morrison didn't just protect my life during these months, became my partner in discovering new forms of leadership that could revolutionize how species work together. Morrison felt the weight of the moment. Isabella was using their personal transformation as a metaphor for the kind of cooperative evolution the galaxy needed. It was brilliant, risky, and completely unlike any diplomatic strategy ever attempted in Council history. The chamber fell silent as delegates processed the implications. Earth's queen wasn't just asking for membership. She was proposing a fundamental shift in how galactic civilization approached partnership, adaptation, and the transformation of unexpected circumstances into sources of strength. Morrison realized that their accident had become something far more significant than either of them had initially understood. The next phase of Isabella's presentation would determine whether the galaxy was ready for the kind of revolutionary thinking that had emerged from their impossible situation. Morrison positioned himself for whatever response would come, knowing that protecting his queen now meant protecting an idea that could change everything. The Arcturian delegate broke the silence first. Queen Isabella, your personal circumstances are indeed unexpected. However, this council requires concrete evidence that Earth brings practical value to our alliance. His tone carried diplomatic skepticism wrapped in polite inquiry. Isabella exchanged a brief glance with Morrison before addressing the assembly. During our 3 months of navigating this unconventional partnership, Captain Morrison and I developed something unprecedented in galactic politics. We created a leadership model based on complete transparency, shared decision-making, and the willingness to transform mistakes into opportunities for growth. The crystalline entity pulsed with computational interest. Elaborate on these practical applications, human queen. Morrison stepped forward slightly, recognizing Isabella's signal for him to provide specific examples. When news of our situation reached Earth's population, we faced potential constitutional crisis. Instead of hiding the accident or quickly dissolving the marriage, Queen Isabella chose to involve me directly in governance decisions. A bodyguard participating in royal policy creation violates every known protocol in civilized space. The Methane Brothers' representative wheezed through their translation system. Isabella nodded acknowledgement. Exactly. We broke protocol because protocol was insufficient for our circumstances. Captain Morrison brought perspectives I could never access from my position. His military training, his understanding of security threats, and his different social background provided insights that transformed our approach to leadership. Morrison felt the alien attention intensify as he continued. Her Majesty began including me in strategic planning sessions not as a guard, but as an advisor. When Earth faced pressure from the Centauri Mining Consortium's aggressive expansion toward our outer colonies, traditional diplomatic responses weren't working. The Zephyrian ambassador's forearms gestured impatiently. Human territorial disputes are beneath Council concern. The solution we developed isn't? Isabella interjected smoothly. Instead of responding with military posturing or economic sanctions, we created something new. Captain Morrison suggested approaching the problem like a protection detail, focusing on preventing escalation rather than winning confrontation. Morrison picked up the narrative thread. We developed what we called defensive diplomacy. Instead of demanding the consortium halt their expansion, we offered to share our mining safety protocols and planetary protection technologies. We turned a territorial dispute into a collaborative opportunity. The Silicon Confederacy's crystalline form brightened with analytical interest. The computational elegance is noteworthy. Convert competition into cooperation through strategic vulnerability. Isabella smiled at the recognition. The Centauri Mining Consortium not only stopped their aggressive expansion, but requested full partnership agreements. Our willingness to share rather than fight completely transformed the dynamic. The Arcturian delegate floated closer to the speaking platform. One successful negotiation does not constitute revolutionary leadership. Morrison felt Isabella's slight tension and recognized she was preparing to reveal something more significant. Protocol suggested he should remain silent, but their months of partnership had taught him when his input was crucial. With respect, Ambassador, Morrison said, that was just the beginning. Queen Isabella applied this approach to internal Earth politics with remarkable results. Isabella took a breath before continuing. Earth's continental governments have maintained separate military commands for over 2 centuries. Competition between our armed forces created inefficiencies and occasional conflicts. Traditional merger attempts had failed repeatedly. I proposed treating the military reorganization like a protection mission, Morrison added. Instead of forcing integration, we created joint training exercises focused on planetary defense scenarios. We gave each command structure opportunities to demonstrate their unique strengths. The Methane Brothers' representative released an interested puff of gas. The psychological manipulation appears sophisticated. Isabella shook her head. Not manipulation. Transformation. When military leaders saw their forces working together successfully, they began requesting permanent joint operations. Within 6 weeks, Earth achieved voluntary military integration that had been impossible for 2 centuries. The chamber filled with various forms of alien discussion as delegates processed this information. Morrison noticed several species displaying what their intelligence briefings had identified as signs of genuine interest. The crystalline entity's light patterns shifted to what Morrison recognized as deep computational analysis. The pattern suggests systematic application of partnership principles to historically adversarial relationships. Precisely, Isabella confirmed. Our accidental marriage taught us that transforming unexpected circumstances into opportunities requires abandoning traditional power structures. Captain Morrison and I didn't just share authority. We created new forms of authority that neither of us could access individually. Morrison stepped forward again, feeling the moment's significance. Queen Isabella revolutionized how Earth approaches leadership by recognizing that strength comes from integration rather than dominance. Our personal transformation became a template for planetary transformation. The Zephyrian ambassador's translator crackled with what sounded like grudging respect. The implications for galactic governance are potentially significant. Isabella nodded. That's exactly what Earth offers this council. We've proven that accidental circumstances can be transformed into revolutionary opportunities through partnership, transparency, and the courage to abandon unsuccessful traditional approaches. Morrison realized that Isabella was positioning their personal story as evidence of Earth's unique potential contribution to galactic civilization. Their accident had become proof of human adaptability and innovative thinking. The Arcturian delegate's next question would reveal whether the Council was prepared to consider Earth's unconventional approach to leadership and partnership. The chamber's atmospheric systems hummed quietly as delegates engaged in rapid interspecies communication. Morrison watched Isabella maintain her composed expression while alien languages filled the air with clicking, electronic pulses, and harmonic vibrations that Earth's translation systems couldn't fully decode. The Arcturian delegate finally addressed the assembly. Queen Isabella, your personal transformation demonstrates adaptability. However, this council requires evidence that Earth's approach can function beyond your individual circumstances. Isabella stepped closer to the central speaking platform, her movements deliberate and confident. Ambassador, our transformation didn't stop with military integration or territorial negotiations. Captain Morrison and I developed a systematic approach that we've applied across multiple sectors of Earth's society. Morrison recognized this as the moment Isabella would reveal information that could either secure Earth's Council membership or expose vulnerabilities that hostile species might exploit later. His protective instincts remained on high alert while his partner in leadership prepared to take their greatest calculated risk. Earth's educational systems had reached a crisis point, Isabella began. Traditional hierarchical teaching methods were producing graduates unprepared for collaborative problem solving. Captain Morrison suggested applying our partnership model to curriculum development. The Silicon Confederacy's crystalline form pulsed with analytical interest. Explain the practical implementation of this educational transformation. Morrison stepped forward, his military bearing lending authority to his words. Instead of teachers delivering information to passive students, we created learning environments where instructors and students became partners in knowledge development. Teachers brought expertise, students brought fresh perspectives and different life experiences. The psychological resistance must have been significant. The Methane Brothers' representative noted through their environmental suit's translation system. Isabella nodded. Absolutely. Many educators feared losing authority and control. We addressed this by demonstrating that partnership actually increased their influence and effectiveness. When teachers became learning partners rather than information deliverers, student engagement and achievement increased dramatically. Morrison continued the explanation. More importantly, students began developing collaborative problem-solving skills automatically. Instead of competing for limited recognition, they learned to combine different strengths to achieve better results than any individual could accomplish alone. The Zephyrian ambassadors' forearms moved in what their intelligence files identified as contemplative gestures. The long-term societal implications appear substantial. Within 18 months, Earth's educational transformation produced a generation of young people naturally skilled in partnership-based leadership, Isabella confirmed. These individuals began entering our workforce and immediately began transforming how businesses, research institutions, and government agencies approached complex challenges. The crystalline entity's light patterns shifted to indicate deep computational analysis. The systematic nature suggests reproducible methodologies rather than unique circumstances. Morrison felt the momentum building in Isabella's favor. She was successfully demonstrating that their personal transformation had become a template for societal change rather than an isolated incident. Earth's scientific research communities provide another example, Isabella continued. Traditional academic competition between institutions was creating redundancy and slowing discovery. We proposed treating research like a planetary protection mission, with each institution contributing their unique capabilities to shared objectives. The Arcturian delegate leaned forward on his floating platform. The coordination challenges would be immense, Morrison nodded. Initially, yes. But when researchers saw the accelerated results from collaborative approaches, institutional barriers began dissolving naturally. Earth achieved breakthrough discoveries in renewable energy, medical technology, and space exploration that individual institutions couldn't have accomplished independently. Isabella's voice carried growing confidence as she revealed the scope of Earth's transformation. Captain Morrison's military background provided crucial insights into how collaborative teams could maintain individual identity while working toward common goals. His understanding of unit cohesion translated directly into civilian applications. The chamber fell quiet as delegates processed the implications. Morrison realized that Isabella was demonstrating Earth's unique contribution to galactic civilization through concrete examples of systematic social evolution. The Methane Brothers' representative broke the silence. Queen Isabella, your claims suggest Earth has achieved societal transformation in remarkably short time frames. What evidence can you provide to support these assertions? Isabella smiled, the expression conveying both confidence and vulnerability. Ambassador, I propose something unprecedented in galactic diplomatic history. Instead of providing traditional documentation, I invite this council to send observation teams to Earth to witness our transformed society directly. The suggestion sent ripples of surprised communication through the alien assembly. Morrison felt his protective instincts spike at the idea of allowing potentially hostile species direct access to Earth, but he recognized Isabella's strategic brilliance. You would allow unrestricted observation of your planetary society? The Silicon Confederacy inquired, light patterns indicating surprise. Completely unrestricted, Isabella confirmed. Our transformation is real, sustainable, and beneficial. We have nothing to hide, because our strength comes from partnership and transparency rather than secrecy and dominance. Morrison stepped closer to Isabella, not from protective concern, but in a gesture of unified support. Their months of partnership had taught him to recognize when bold moves required visible solidarity. The Zephyrian ambassador's translator crackled with what sounded like amazement. No species in galactic history has ever offered unrestricted planetary observation during council admission proceedings. Isabella's response would determine whether the galaxy was ready for the level of transparency and partnership that had transformed Earth's approach to civilization itself. The Arcturian delegate initiated immediate consultation with other council members through rapid electromagnetic communication that Earth's translation systems registered as urgent diplomatic discussion. Morrison maintained his position beside Isabella, recognizing that their unified presence was itself part of the message about Earth's transformed approach to leadership. The Silicon Confederacy's crystalline form brightened with computational intensity before addressing the assembly. Queen Isabella, unrestricted planetary observation would expose Earth's military capabilities, technological limitations, and potential societal vulnerabilities to species who might not share your collaborative intentions. Ambassador, that concern assumes our strength depends on hiding our limitations. Our transformation taught us that vulnerability becomes strength when it's coupled with transparency and genuine partnership. Morrison stepped forward slightly, understanding that this moment required him to demonstrate the partnership they were describing. The Council should understand that Queen Isabella's offer isn't naive optimism. We've calculated the risks extensively. The Methane Brothers representative released what their cultural briefings identified as a signal of intense interest. Explain your risk assessment, Captain Morrison. Earth's security ultimately depends on our relationships with other species, not our ability to hide from them, Morrison replied. If hostile civilizations want to attack us, they'll find ways to gather intelligence regardless of our secrecy. But if we demonstrate that partnership with Earth provides genuine benefits, potential enemies become potential allies. Isabella nodded, building on Morrison's foundation. Our months of accidental marriage taught us that attempting to maintain artificial barriers actually creates the conflicts we're trying to prevent. When Captain Morrison and I stopped trying to maintain traditional separation between our roles, we discovered capabilities that neither of us possessed individually. The Zephyrian ambassador's forearms gestured in complex patterns while his translator processed. You propose extending this personal discovery to interstellar relations? Exactly, Isabella confirmed. Earth offers the galaxy something unprecedented. We offer a species willing to abandon defensive secrecy in favor of collaborative vulnerability. We believe this approach can transform how galactic civilization approaches its greatest challenges. Morrison watched the alien delegates carefully, noting subtle shifts in body language and communication patterns that suggested genuine consideration rather than diplomatic politeness. The crystalline entity pulsed with analytical light. Queen Isabella, your proposal requires this council to fundamentally reconsider established diplomatic protocols. Unrestricted planetary observation creates precedents that could impact all member species. Isabella smiled, recognizing the opening this statement provided. Ambassador, that's precisely why Earth's offer demonstrates our commitment to revolutionary partnership. We're not asking for special treatment or exceptions to existing rules. We're volunteering to pioneer new approaches that could benefit the entire galactic community. The Arcturian delegate floated closer to the speaking platform. The implications are staggering. If your social transformation proves sustainable and reproducible, Earth's partnership model could reshape galactic governance itself. Morrison felt the moment's historical significance. Isabella wasn't just securing Earth's council membership. She was proposing a fundamental evolution in how galactic civilization approached cooperation, conflict resolution, and shared progress. Our accidental marriage became the catalyst for discovering that traditional power structures often create the problems they're designed to solve, Isabella continued. Captain Morrison and I learned that sharing authority doesn't diminish leadership effectiveness, it multiplies it. The Silicon Confederacy's light patterns shifted to indicate deep computational processing. The mathematical elegance is compelling. Collaborative authority systems would theoretically produce exponential rather than linear improvements in problem-solving capabilities. Morrison stepped forward again, recognizing Isabella's signal for him to provide military perspective. From a security standpoint, the galaxy faces threats that no individual species can address effectively. Climate destabilization, resource depletion, and technological advancement require coordinated responses that current competitive approaches can't achieve, the Methane Brothers representative vocalized through their environmental suit. Captain Morrison raises valid points. Current galactic responses to systematic challenges have proven inadequate precisely because species maintain defensive rather than collaborative postures. Isabella sees the momentum. Earth volunteers to demonstrate that collaborative vulnerability produces better results than competitive secrecy. Our unrestricted observation offer proves our commitment to this principle. The chamber filled with intense interspecies communication as delegates recognize the unprecedented nature of Earth's proposal. Morrison realized that Isabella had successfully reframed their accidental marriage from an embarrassing diplomatic complication into evidence of revolutionary leadership potential. The Zephyrian ambassador's translator finally cut through the communication chaos. Queen Isabella, this council requires time to fully evaluate your unprecedented offer. Isabella nodded graciously. Of course, Ambassador. Earth understands that revolutionary partnerships require careful consideration. Morrison recognized that the next phase of this diplomatic process would determine whether the galaxy was prepared for the transformation that Earth represented. The council chamber's atmospheric systems adjusted automatically as delegates continued their deliberations, the mechanical hum providing subtle background to intense alien discussions. Morrison maintained his protective awareness while recognizing that his role had evolved far beyond traditional bodyguard duties during these crucial moments. The Arcturian delegate initiated formal council protocols by activating the central holographic display system. Queen Isabella, this council will now conduct preliminary evaluation of Earth's partnership proposal. Your offer of unrestricted planetary observation requires unanimous consideration. Isabella stepped forward, her diplomatic training evident in her poised response. Ambassador, Earth appreciates the Council's thorough approach to this unprecedented situation. Morrison noticed subtle changes in alien body language and communication patterns that suggested genuine engagement rather than polite dismissal. The months he'd spent studying galactic diplomatic intelligence were proving invaluable in reading the room's shifting dynamics. The Silicon Confederacy's crystalline form projected complex mathematical models into the holographic display. Initial computational analysis suggests Earth's collaborative approaches could produce significant improvements in resource allocation efficiency across member worlds. The Zephyrian ambassador's forearms moved in contemplative gestures while his translator processed. However, the cultural adaptation challenges would be substantial. Many species maintain hierarchical structures that have functioned effectively for millennia. Isabella recognized the opening this concern provided. Ambassador Krex, our transformation didn't require abandoning existing structures. Captain Morrison and I maintained our distinct roles while adding collaborative elements that enhanced our individual effectiveness. Morrison stepped forward to provide concrete examples. Queen Isabella remained Earth's sovereign leader, while I continued my security responsibilities. Our partnership added new capabilities without eliminating our essential functions. The Methane Brothers representative released interested chemical signals. The preservation of functional specialization would address concerns about governmental destabilization. Isabella nodded enthusiastically. Exactly. Earth's approach enhances rather than replaces existing effective systems. Our educational transformation didn't eliminate teachers or students. It created new relationships that improved outcomes for both roles. The crystalline entity's light patterns indicated intensive analysis. The systematic nature suggests reproducible methodologies that could be adapted to different species' characteristics without requiring fundamental cultural abandonment. Morrison realized Isabella was successfully demonstrating that Earth's model could integrate with galactic diversity rather than demanding conformity to human approaches. The Arcturian delegate addressed a crucial concern. Queen Isabella, your partnership with Captain Morrison involved two individuals from the same species. Interstellar applications would require bridging far greater differences. Isabella smiled, recognizing this as an opportunity to reveal additional evidence of Earth's transformative potential. Ambassador, our success with cultural bridge building extends beyond our personal partnership. Earth has been conducting preliminary diplomatic exchanges with several non-council species. The statement sent ripples of surprised communication through the assembly. Morrison felt his protective instincts heighten as Isabella prepared to reveal information that could expose Earth to significant risks if hostile species learned about these contacts. The Zephyrian ambassador's translator crackled with intense interest. Explain these unauthorized diplomatic activities, human queen. Not unauthorized, Ambassador, Isabella replied calmly. Earth has been applying our partnership principles to establish preliminary contact with the Wanderer fleets and the deep ocean civilizations of Kepler 442b. The chamber erupted in various forms of alien exclamation. Morrison watched delegates process the implications of Earth conducting successful diplomacy with species that the Council had been unable to contact for centuries. The Silicon Confederacy's computational displays went into overdrive. The Wanderer fleets have maintained isolation from galactic civilization for over 800 years. No Council member has achieved meaningful communication with them. Isabella's confidence grew as she revealed the scope of Earth's diplomatic achievements. Captain Morrison suggested approaching the Wanderers like a protection detail approaches suspicious individuals. Instead of demanding explanations for their isolation, we offered assistance with challenges they might be facing. Morrison continued the explanation. We discovered that the Wanderer fleets maintain isolation because previous galactic contacts had been exploitative rather than genuinely collaborative. When we demonstrated that Earth was interested in mutual benefit rather than resource extraction, communication became possible. The Methane Brothers representative wheezed with amazement. What assistance could Earth provide to civilizations far more technologically advanced than your species? Isabella's response revealed the genius of their approach. We offered something technology couldn't provide. We offered genuine partnership without hidden agendas. The Wanderer fleets had been searching for civilizations capable of authentic collaboration rather than disguised competition. The Arcturian delegate floated closer, his interest clearly piqued. And the deep ocean civilizations? Morrison stepped forward. Similar principles, different application. The Kepler civilizations had been avoiding galactic contact because they perceived space-based species as environmentally destructive. We approached them with proposals for collaborative environmental protection rather than trade negotiations. Isabella nodded. Both species responded positively to Earth's partnership-based diplomacy. They've expressed willingness to consider Council membership if the galaxy adopts more collaborative approaches to interstellar relations. The chamber fell silent as delegates processed the staggering implications. Earth had achieved diplomatic contact with isolated species that the Council had been unable to reach for centuries, using the same partnership principles that had emerged from Isabella and Morrison's accidental marriage. The Silicon Confederacy's crystalline form pulsed with what Morrison recognized as computational amazement. Queen Isabella, you're suggesting that Earth's partnership model could facilitate galactic expansion through inclusion of previously unreachable civilizations? That's exactly what we're suggesting, Isabella confirmed. Our accidental marriage taught us that unexpected partnerships create opportunities impossible through traditional approaches. Earth offers the galaxy access to civilizations and capabilities that competitive diplomacy has been unable to achieve. Morrison realized that Isabella had just transformed Earth's Council application from a request for membership into an offer of revolutionary expansion of galactic civilization itself. The stakes had become far higher than anyone had anticipated. The Zephyrian ambassador's next statement would indicate whether the Council was prepared for the transformation Earth represented. The massive holographic displays throughout the chamber activated simultaneously, projecting real-time communication links with Council members not physically present. Morrison recognized this as the initiation of full Council consultation protocols, indicating that Earth's proposal had achieved serious consideration at the highest levels of galactic governance. The Arcturian delegate's voice carried new gravity as he addressed the expanded assembly. Queen Isabella, this council must now consideration whether Earth's partnership model represents evolution or revolution in galactic civilization. Isabella stepped toward the central platform, her movement conveying both confidence and respect for the moment's significance. Ambassador, those aren't mutually exclusive concepts. Evolution often requires revolutionary thinking, and revolution succeeds only when it builds on evolutionary foundations. Morrison positioned himself where he could monitor both Isabella and the broader assembly, his protective instincts heightened by the presence of additional alien species participating through holographic projection. The Silicon Confederacy's computational analysis filled multiple display screens with complex mathematical models. Preliminary calculations suggest Earth's collaborative approaches could increase galactic resource efficiency by approximately 400% while reducing internal conflicts by 67%. A new voice entered the discussion as the Andromedean Collective's representative materialized through quantum communication link. Such improvements seem mathematically unlikely given the competitive nature of biological evolution. Isabella recognized the challenge this statement represented. Honored Collective Representative Captain Morrison and I initially held similar assumptions. Our personal experience taught us that competition and collaboration aren't opposing forces. They can work together to achieve results impossible through either approach individually. Morrison stepped forward to provide specific examples. Military training taught me that effective units combine individual excellence with team coordination. The strongest soldiers aren't those who defeat their teammates, but those who help their teammates become stronger. The Methane Brothers delegate released chemical signals indicating deep consideration. Captain Morrison's military perspective provides interesting insights. Optimal unit performance does require balancing individual development with collective coordination. Isabella built on Morrison's foundation. Earth discovered that planetary challenges require exactly this balance. Individual nations, institutions, and communities maintaining their unique strengths while contributing to shared objectives. The holographic display shifted to show detailed analyses from multiple council species. Morrison noted that several civilizations were conducting real-time evaluation of Earth's claims through their own computational and analytical systems. The Zephyrian ambassador's forearms gestured toward the display data. Queen Isabella, these analyses suggest significant potential benefits from your proposed approaches. However, implementation challenges remain substantial. Isabella nodded acknowledgement. Ambassador, every transformation faces implementation challenges. Captain Morrison and I overcame these challenges by starting with authentic partnership and building outward from that foundation. The Andromedean Collective's representative posed a crucial question. How do you propose extending authentic partnership to species with fundamentally different consciousness structures, communication methods, and evolutionary backgrounds? Morrison felt Isabella's slight pause and recognized she was preparing to take their greatest diplomatic risk yet. The answer to this question would determine whether Earth's partnership model could truly scale to galactic civilization. Collective Representative, we propose starting exactly where Captain Morrison and I started, Isabella replied. With an accident that forces us to discover new possibilities. The chamber filled with confused alien communication as delegates processed this unexpected response. Morrison realized Isabella was about to propose something unprecedented in galactic diplomatic history. Isabella continued before the confusion could solidify into rejection. Earth volunteers to serve as an accidental bridge between species that have been unable to achieve meaningful cooperation. We offer to become the catalyst for partnerships that traditional diplomacy has been unable to create. The Silicon Confederacy's light patterns indicated intensive computational analysis. Explain the practical implementation of this catalytic bridging function. Morrison stepped forward, understanding his role in this crucial moment. Earth proposes hosting joint problem-solving initiatives where different species work together on shared challenges, with human facilitators helping bridge communication and cultural gaps. Isabella expanded the concept. Our accidental marriage taught us that forced cooperation often reveals capabilities that voluntary cooperation can't access. Earth volunteers to create cooperative situations where species discover partnership benefits through shared necessity rather than theoretical discussion. The Arcturian delegate's interest was clearly growing. You propose engineering productive accidents in interspecies cooperation. Exactly, Isabella confirmed. Earth offers to design collaborative projects where different species must work together to achieve objectives none of them could accomplish independently. Natural partnership development through structured interdependence. The Methane Brothers representative vocalized approval signals. The psychological principles appear sound. Forced cooperation does tend to overcome cultural resistance more effectively than voluntary initiatives. Morrison watched alien delegates engage in intensive consultation, recognizing that Isabella had successfully reframed Earth's role from supplicant seeking membership to catalyst offering revolutionary expansion of galactic capability. The Zephyrian ambassador's translator processed for several moments before delivering the crucial question. Queen Isabella, this council must know whether Earth is prepared for the responsibilities such a catalytic role would require. Isabella's response would determine the future of both Earth and galactic civilization itself. The quantum communication links buzzed with intense activity as council members across the galaxy engaged in unprecedented real-time consultation. Morrison watched Isabella maintain her composed demeanor while alien civilizations debated humanity's future and the potential transformation of galactic society itself. The Arcturian delegate finally addressed the assembly. Queen Isabella, the scope of your proposal requires this council to consider fundamental changes to galactic governance structures that have maintained stability for over 2 millennia. Isabella stepped closer to the central platform, her voice carrying both humility and determination. Ambassador, stability that prevents growth eventually becomes stagnation. Captain Morrison and I learned that true security comes from adaptability rather than rigid adherence to existing structures. Morrison felt the weight of representing not just Earth, but the concept of evolutionary partnership itself. His next words could influence the development of interstellar civilization for generations to come. Honored delegates, Morrison began, his military bearing lending authority to his words. Queen Isabella and I didn't choose our transformation. It was forced upon us by circumstances beyond our control. That accident taught us that the greatest discoveries often come from situations we would never choose to enter voluntarily. The Silicon Confederacy's crystalline form pulsed with computational interest. Captain Morrison raises an intriguing point. Voluntary cooperation may be inherently limited by pre-existing assumptions and comfort zones. Isabella nodded enthusiastically. Our accidental marriage forced us beyond our comfort zones and revealed capabilities we never knew we possessed. Earth offers to facilitate similar discoveries for the entire galactic community. The Andromedan Collective's representative posed the crucial challenge. Queen Isabella, your personal transformation involved 2 individuals of the same species sharing compatible biological and cultural frameworks. Galactic applications would require bridging differences so profound that meaningful cooperation might be impossible. Morrison recognized this as the moment requiring their most convincing evidence. Collective representative. We've already begun testing these principles with the preliminary contacts Her Majesty mentioned. The results suggest that profound differences can become sources of strength rather than barriers to cooperation. Isabella smiled, preparing to reveal information that could secure Earth's proposal or expose vulnerabilities that hostile species might exploit. The Wanderer fleets and Earth have begun joint development of transportation technologies that neither civilization could create independently. The chamber erupted in surprised alien communication. Morrison maintained his protective awareness while recognizing that Isabella had just revealed Earth's access to technologies far beyond human capabilities. The Zephyrian ambassador's translator crackled with amazement. The Wanderer fleets possess the most advanced propulsion systems in known space. They have never shared technological knowledge with any species. Isabella's confidence grew as she explained their breakthrough. Ambassador, they don't share technology with species seeking competitive advantage. But when Earth approached them as genuine partners interested in mutual benefit, collaboration became natural. Morrison continued the explanation. The Wanderers needed planetary-based testing facilities for their new propulsion concepts. Earth offered our facilities without demanding exclusive access to the resulting technologies. The Methane Brothers' representative vocalized intense interest, and they agreed to genuine technology sharing rather than limited licensing arrangements. Isabella nodded. Complete collaborative development. Earth contributes planetary resources and human creativity. The Wanderers contribute advanced engineering and cosmic perspective. The resulting technologies will be freely available to any civilization willing to participate in genuine partnership. The Silicon Confederacy's computational displays showed projections that made several delegates emit sounds of amazement. The technological advancement implications are staggering. Wanderer fleet propulsion systems could revolutionize galactic transportation efficiency by several orders of magnitude. The Arcturian delegate floated closer to the platform. Queen Isabella, you're suggesting that Earth's partnership model has already achieved technological breakthroughs that competitive approaches have been unable to accomplish for centuries. That's exactly what we're demonstrating, Isabella confirmed. Our accidental marriage taught us that partnership creates capabilities that neither party possesses individually. Earth's collaborations with non-council species prove this principle applies to interstellar relations. Morrison stepped forward to address the broader implications. Honored delegates, Earth offers to serve as a catalyst for similar partnerships throughout the galaxy. We propose creating collaborative initiatives where any species can contribute their unique capabilities to shared projects that benefit everyone involved. The chamber fell silent as delegates processed the revolutionary implications. Morrison realized that Isabella had successfully transformed Earth's Council application from a request for membership into an offer to facilitate galactic transformation through systematic partnership development. The Andromedan Collective's representative finally broke the silence. Queen Isabella, your proposal would require unprecedented cooperation between civilizations that have maintained competitive relationships for millennia. Isabella's response carried both conviction and vulnerability. Collective representative, Captain Morrison and I maintained competitive relationships until accidental circumstances forced us to discover partnership. Earth volunteers to help create productive accidents that allow other species to make similar discoveries. The Zephyrian ambassador's forearms moved in gestures indicating deep contemplation. The implications extend far beyond Council membership. You propose fundamental transformation of galactic civilization itself. Morrison felt the historical significance of this moment. Isabella had positioned Earth not as a minor species seeking admission to established systems, but as a catalyst for evolutionary change that could benefit the entire galaxy. The next phase of Council deliberation would determine whether galactic civilization was prepared for the transformation Earth represented, or would choose to maintain existing competitive structures that limited everyone's potential. The decision would reshape the future of intelligence life throughout the known universe.